Why are we addicted to validation? Let me start with something uncomfortable. Most people today don't ask who they are anymore. They ask how they are perceived. Social media did not create this hunger, it exposed it. So, the need to be seen is now constant and measurable, and that changes how people build identity. Here's the real hook question. If nobody approved of you for 1 full year, would you still know who you are? Many people say yes, but their anxiety says no. The modern person lives inside a mirror made of other people's opinions. That mirror changes daily, and so does their sense of self. The day now begins with notifications. Dopamine replaced silence. Instead of asking, "How is my soul?" we ask, "Did they react?" This is not just habit, it is identity outsourcing. And outsourced identity is always fragile. Christ says in John chapter 5, "How can you believe when you receive glory from one another?" This is not only religious teaching, it is psychological truth. If you live from human approval, you lose inner grounding. You become adjustable to every opinion, and adjustable identity cannot produce peace. Christ also says in Matthew chapter 6, he says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. If validation is treasure, anxiety will guard it. Fear of rejection will become permanent background noise. Many people think they want attention. What they really want is safety. Prophet Isaiah says, "I have called you by name, you are mine." Notice the difference between being named and being rated. The world rates you constantly. God names you once. Rating creates performance identity. Naming creates relational identity. In Proverbs says, "Fear of man is a snare." A snare does not look dangerous. It looks normal. Validation addiction looks like ambition or social success, but internally it traps freedom. Now a story from the Desert Fathers. A young monk asked Abba Macarius why he still feared people's opinions. The elder told him to go insult the graves. Then he told him to go praise the graves. The monk returned confused because the dead reacted to nothing. Abba Macarius said, "Become like the dead to praise and insult." This is not emotional coldness. This is spiritual stability. It means your identity is not controlled by reactions. Modern culture calls this emotional independence. Christianity calls it freedom. Now a modern story. A young influencer lost half her followers after one controversial post. She said she felt like she stopped existing, not like she lost attention, like she lost identity. Validation addiction grows slowly. First comes comparison, then insecurity, then performance, then identity collapse. This is how external identity is built. In Galatians chapter 1, it is said, "If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ." This is radical. You cannot serve truth and public approval at the same time. One will dominate the other. Most people don't notice when the switch happens. Now a Desert Father story. A monk asked Abba Pimen how to stop being controlled by people's praise. Abba Pimen said, "If you remember your sins, you will not chase their praise." Humility stabilizes identity, and pride destabilizes this identity. So this is ancient psychology. Another real example. Corporate worker promoted rapidly. Suddenly she became addicted to recognition. When she lost one promotion, she fell into depression. Not because of money, but because identity was attached to status. In Ecclesiastes, we found that everything under the sun is vapor. If identity is built on vapor, anxiety is permanent. The modern world sells vapor as meaning, and many people buy it without noticing. That is why success often increases fear, not peace. So let's go deeper. Many people don't want validation. They want reassurance. They matter. But humans cannot give permanent reassurance. Humans are unstable, distracted, emotional, unchanging. Only unconditional love can stabilize identity. Romans 8 says nothing can separate us from the love of God. That is radical psychological stability. Imagine building identity on something that cannot fluctuate. That is spiritual freedom. That is emotional security. Now, again, a desert father story. Abba Moses said, "Sit in your cell and your cell will teach you everything." Silence reveals who you are without audience. Many people fear silence because they meet themselves there, and they do not know who that is. Now a modern story. I remember a teenager that removed social media for 30 days. First week, anxiety. Second week, boredom. Third week, clarity. Fourth week, peace. Psalms says, God knows us completely. Imagine being fully known and still loved. That destroys performance identity. That creates rest. That creates internal safety. Now practical steps. Some practical steps. Step 1. Digital fasting windows. Not punishment. Detox from external identity input and silence rebuilds internal voice. Step 2. Simple prayer. God, show me who I am in you. This is identity rerouting. Not emotional hype, but deep recalibration. Step 3. Hidden good deeds. Jesus said to not let your left hand know what your right hand does. Why? To break performance addiction. Hidden goodness rebuilds soul integrity. In the Desert Fathers, we found that a monk did charity secretly for years. When discovered, he cried because he felt he lost spiritual treasure. But modern world posts charity instantly. Spiritual world hides it intentionally. In Matthews, we found that fathers sees in secret. That means value. That restores soul dignity. So let me be very honest. Validation, addiction, is not about ego. It is about fear. Fear of being invisible. Fear of not mattering. Fear of being forgotten. But Christianity says your existence is already willed. You are not an accident. You are not a performance. You are not a product. The Desert Father, Abba Anthony said, I saw the traps of the enemy spread across the earth. One of those traps today is identity through audience. It looks normal, but it enslaves slowly. Modern story. Therapist said most anxiety today is identity instability. People don't know who they are without feedback loops. That creates permanent psychological noise. Silence feels threatening. So, you don't actually want validation. You want to know you matter. The real question is not who validates you. The real question is who defines you. And that question decides your peace or your anxiety. God bless you.